Hey, English 9. I hope you're having a great Wednesday or Thursday. We're going to review the first article that we read, which was called From Parkland to Sunrise, preview a little bit of our second article, which is called Youth Teaching Tech to Seniors. So the first article, From Parkland to Sunrise, A Year of Extraordinary Youth Activism. I thought this article was really interesting because it is talking about stuff that we remember happening in the news. Like I remember when the Parkland shooting happened. Maybe some of you do too. You would have been in seventh grade. And I remember when we did the school walkout for March for Our Lives. And if you went to Easy Middle School, I remember, I think the middle school teachers like took their students out or you had the option to walk out. And if you went to another middle school, maybe you also participated in the walkout. So that was kind of interesting to read about something that touched all of our lives and that we all participated in. So I just quickly want to review what your answers to the questions might have been, and you can go back and add to your own answers or go back and reread the article to see if there's something that you missed. So the first question, what surprises the author? She's surprised when she gets to Parkland because she thought she was going to be reporting on a school shooting, and instead she ends up reporting on a political movement that was starting to spring up. Some of the specific actions that students took were they lobbied their representatives, they formed March for Our Lives and had a national walkout. They were able to meet with state representatives and congressional representatives. They encouraged young voter registration. And all of it started from when they had gone to a rally that their school board had hosted. And one student, Emma Gonzalez, held up a sign that said, "We call BS," basically saying like, all of the things that adults say that they're doing to try to protect us aren't working and you need to do something stronger. And then describing students of their generation more generally, she talks about how the students at Parkland are the first group of students from their generation to be involved, and then mentions some of the other movements, which we'll get to in question number 3. In question number 2, it says, from the beginning, what made the March for Our Lives students seem different was the simple fact that they believed that the worsening epidemic of gun violence in this country could actually be fixed. That's really powerful. I think that what that's saying is that these teenagers believed that what they were doing could actually make a difference and that they could stop gun violence and stop another really tragic shooting like what happened at their own school. And that might be different from people, especially older people, who feel like maybe for decades they've seen people try to make a change and they haven't made as much progress or change as they wanted to. And so they might think, well, I give up. Like, it's not worth trying because nothing's ever going to make a difference. But these teenagers are optimistic and hopeful, and that's why they keep working for it. Okay, question number 3. 3 of the activist groups that I noticed were Black Lives Matter, which protests police inequality against African Americans; United We Dream, which supports dreamers or undocumented immigrants who came to the United States as children and gives them a path to citizenship; and then the Sunrise Movement, which focuses on working to stop or to prevent climate change, and the Green New Deal. The political action campaign Brand New Congress worked to get new people elected into congressional districts where there hadn't really been like a competition or race before. And so it was these people who had held the congressional seats for so long, and Brand New Congress supported people who wanted to run in those districts. And the most successful one was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who was elected in 2018. And then what compares the youth activists of today with previous generations of youth activists? She says today's youth are working within the political system, which is kind of different than how people or previous generations might have worked. A lot of times those people were anti-government and they wanted to make change that was outside of the political system. But the people that the author Emily Witt mentions in this article have done things within the political system, like lobbying their representatives and working to get new people elected and encouraging young voter registration. So they want to try to make a change within the system that we already have. So our next article that we're going to read for today is called Youth Teaching Tech to Seniors Fosters Generational Connections. And there's a link at the top of your article so that you can listen to the radio story. It's about 4 minutes. And this article I think is really interesting because on the one hand, it's like kind of a cute idea, like, oh, we're going to teach grandma how to get Instagram, but then also how important it is. Like the seniors have been kind of left out of something that's become so important for our society. And so this is a way that teens can use their special knowledge and skills, and they can be the experts and get to teach the older generations. So I just thought it would be fun to look at some of the funny examples that they have online of like texts from grandma. So here's one. Grandmother texts 3 times in a row, "Dear, when you get home, please set out the lasagna from the fridge." And then when the grandchild says, "Grandma, it's still me. Oops, silly potato." I like this one. The grandpa says, "Hey, how are things with you?" "Good, who is this?" And then when the grandchild says, "Did you reply to yourself?" "Oh, scrap, I think I did." This is a grandpa who makes up his own texting language that doesn't really seem to shorten the time it takes to text because he has to explain what each of them mean. And then this one I remember from a couple years ago is always really cute. A grandmother who said please and thank you every time she Googled something, as if she was asking a person to look up the answers for her. So those are some ways that grandparents are already getting involved in social media, and in the article we'll see how teens can help them to do so. One last thing, when we went to DLDs, we didn't have a chance to celebrate birthdays. So we have a ton of birthdays that we haven't celebrated for March, April, and May. So if you are sitting at home and watching, you can give 2 claps to each of these people. But for March, we had Joe, Ali, and Connor. For April, we had Olivia, Kalina, Chasen, and Aiden. And for May, we had Joe, Josh, and Brady. So I'm so sorry this is a belated birthday, and I'll try to be better about making sure that we can celebrate birthdays of our class members each week for the rest of the year. So I miss you all. I hope you have a great Wednesday and Thursday, and email me if you have any questions. You're going to do your Zoom small group discussion on Friday, and your group leader should be getting in contact with you to set up the time when you want to do that. You can basically do it any time between 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., but make sure that you find a time that works for everybody. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing those discussions. Bye.